Hello YouTube, my name is Eric and I'm doing what will hopefully be the first of many videos. I am actually going to be showing and introducing you to both my RC trucks. They're both T-Maxx Traxxas trucks, and I'm just going to be showing the difference between them and what I've done to them over the years since I've had them for quite a while now. So here's my first T-Maxx truck. This actually began its life as a 2.5 engine truck with the gray cooling head. So here's underneath. It wasn't originally my goal to convert the whole thing to a new truck, but especially since I didn't really know a lot about the T-Maxx when I first got this. I'll admit it was really boring with the 2.5 engine. It really couldn't pull wheelies and unless you had a really good tune on it, although I didn't know a lot about tuning back then. But I will say that most people would agree that in a truck this size, the 2.5 engine is kind of meager. So the first thing I really did was put in the 3.3 engine. According to the compression test where you turn the flywheel, this engine is actually still healthy. I recently took both trucks out of storage and I completely rebuilt them, and I cleaned pretty much almost every part, especially the front and rear axles. Because those tend to get dirtiest, and also the tires and the A-arms and stuff, and the steering knuckles. I was a bit worried about this one considering I had not used this for 2 years. I was actually originally planning on selling this truck down here. This is a newer T-Maxx I'll talk about later. I was originally planning on selling this one because I didn't really need to, and I had spent so much money upgrading this truck to make it kind of an awesome machine. I would never get full price back from what I paid for it, ever. Not in a million years. After rebuilding both of them, I pretty much decided to probably keep them both since they're both pretty wicked, and you know, it's nice to have two trucks, especially if one, you know, breaks or something. So the next thing I upgraded on this, I believe, were probably the wheels. These are like Traxxas, they're 5-spoke Traxxas rims on what I think they're Talon tires. Nothing too special, but my goal at the time was to upgrade it to a 4909 T-Maxx, but this was just the first of many upgrades to do that, and I'm surprised how many there actually were. Traxxas really took a huge step from the original, kind of the classic T-Maxx and the 4909 3.3 Max. What's kind of important, the next upgrade I did do was a high torque steering servo. This is still a plastic servo from Traxxas. It's the 2070 servo, which is probably their best. It's a plastic geared servo, so it's nothing too special, but it gets the job done. I also have a belt crank upgrade that I have not actually put on. I bought it and I never put it on. Another important upgrade, which is really handy, is the onboard battery hump pack. This is kind of a necessity. I don't think the T-Maxx has ever had that stock. I might be wrong. But this is an important upgrade if you want just easier running and less worry about your 4 AA batteries running out in the middle of a run and your truck going on a wild ride. This upgrade here is probably, honestly, not really mandatory. This is the tuned resonator pipe. Funny story, I actually, when I first got this truck, I saw the nice chrome exhaust at my hobby store, and I picked it up right away, and little did I know, about a couple days later, it was actually a Revo exhaust, a rear exit exhaust that comes out back there. You could fit it to a T-Maxx, but some people say it makes it run like shit. Other people say that you would rather keep the stock plastic crappy exhaust that comes with the 2.5 T-Maxx than do a Revo exhaust conversion. This is probably, again, along with like the hump pack and the steering servo, the essential upgrades to make it just a better everyday truck. So this is a much larger air filter than obviously what's stock. This is a motor saver air filter. It's probably the biggest one they have, or at least for a nitro engine. It doesn't really need to be that much larger. It's easy to clean and it just slides right off, and it's also got a nice mesh on it to keep big particles of dirt out. I just want to take a sec while I'm still thinking about it to talk about the Traxxas Revo OptiDrive system, the little onboard quote-unquote failsafe. It only worked half the time you even used it. What it does is It's connected to a sensor that goes to the transmission right in here, and it detects if your reverse shaft, I think, is engaged while the truck is in motion and the drive shaft is turning. Basically, it won't allow the truck to shift into reverse while it is in motion. I'm looking at this spot right here because that's the plug where the OptiDrive would be kind of visible, and you would see the button to press to calibrate it. This is the gray e-revo spec transmission with the much better slipper clutch. There aren't as many rotating parts. That's kind of the advantage. But there's definitely no need to swap in this transmission unless your previous one nukes itself. That right there is a fuel filter. Honestly, I don't know why these trucks don't come with it. From what I can tell, I don't think that it limits the amount of fuel going to the carburetor. I think it's a good thing to have on there, and Traxxas should honestly put those on from the factory. A nice little worthwhile upgrade. Probably shouldn't have to clean it, especially. I mean, if you're sloppy and you put gunk and shit inside your fuel tank, you're gonna need one of those, obviously. Now here's what everybody's already yelling at me about, the Integy piggyback reservoir shocks. Now here's the thing. I need to refill the oil in them with a much heavier weight oil. From the factory, I will agree they are kind of soft. I mean, they're obviously durable. They got like tin shafts, I think. Aluminum shocks are better than the plastic shocks it comes with. They're really a huge visual upgrade for the truck. I don't really see why people hate these shocks. I can see why they hate Integy. They sometimes make cheap aluminum parts that'll bend, but I don't see why people hate these shocks. Down in there you can sort of see the drive shafts and the steering knuckle and the A-arms. I have not upgraded the A-arms since I've never really broken them. I upgraded the drive shafts all the way around. What I don't get is why Traxxas just doesn't put these drive shafts on the T-Maxx Classic, the 2.5 Max. I don't get why there are so many differences between that T-Maxx and the newer 4907 T-Maxx. I mean, the 3.3 engine can snap axles. I have snapped axles, and that's why these the half shafts here have been replaced. The best time to upgrade is after you break something. You don't want to just overhaul your truck and not use it ever. Combined with a locker in the rear and the 3.3 engine, which produces a wheelie machine, axles are going to break. I upgraded the steering knuckles all the way around. Okay, so here I have the underside of the truck, and you can see I installed Traxxas' steel constant velocity shafts, or center shafts. These are pretty great, although I had trouble with the front one, and for some reason, maybe it was just mine, but the boot or the sleeve wouldn't pull back, and I couldn't get the screw in the hole. You could even replace the half shafts with CV shafts. Last thing I might actually consider getting is a transmission skid plate. I think they do make them for the shorter wheelbase truck. I know the longer wheelbase truck comes with its stock. And I do actually have a bell crank upgraded for this steering servo, which I gotta put on, and I definitely know I need to because that servo saver kind of sucks. Along with the transmission, I had to replace the brakes. That's pretty much all the major upgrades I put on this. You'll notice this has a long antenna, but this is a 2.4 gigahertz radio. The newer T-Maxx, which comes with one of these radios, the TQI, with the docking base, it doesn't need a long antenna. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and I've tried shortening the antenna. Like, I didn't cut anything, I just tucked it down a little bit, but that drastically decreased my connectivity range. I don't really mind the long antenna after a while, but it kind of confuses me. There's just one more little thing I want to talk about, and this is something that I think everybody should put on their trucks. It's a throttle return spring. When you let off the throttle, your servo is supposed to return, but if you lose connectivity, your servo won't return back to center, I should say. It'll be stuck wide open, but that spring will save your butt. As for like camber and toe adjustment, your front wheels should be straight. Your rear wheels should have a little bit of toe in, because to track more straight. So here is the newer model. This is the 4907 T-Maxx. This truck is pretty much stock, except for these progressive springs from Traxxas. Oh, and also the hump pack. Also, I put a fuel filter on. So that pretty much concludes this kind of review of the general history of both these trucks. Like I mentioned, I got the truck on the left about 4 years ago, and then the truck on the right I got early 2016. When summer comes, it's winter here in southern Canada, in the GTA. When summer comes, I want to get back into the hobby. It has been 2 years since I ran the truck on the left, and I can't wait to start making hopefully some like real YouTube videos come summer. Some nice bashing videos with backflips, wheelies, and all the fun stuff. Nitros are super fun to run outside in the summer. Like and subscribe, and show this video on Twitter, show it to anybody, and I'll be back later. See ya.